Hello guys, in this video I will tell you about few of the coding tips and tricks that every good programmer should have if you want to save your time and do the best in the interviews. If you won't follow these steps, it might happen that you are doing well, but at some point of time you will realize that it was a day where I spent the entire day on one question. I could get through that. So it's always advisable to follow these basic steps, and I'll assure you that this will help you a lot future coding competitions and your interviews as well. So I thought to categorize all basic requirements into 5 steps so that you grasp it easily. So the first step is reduce the problem statement and write it in your own words. It's pretty simple. We often find questions, the main question, the main point is very simple. It's just like sometimes it happens that you just have to implement binary search in the question, and the problem statement is of 4 to 5 lines. It has written a lot of a story, a whole of a story is given in that code. So it's important to extract the information from that code and then find a proper decent algorithm for that. So I've taken an example where you could see that the problem statement is of 7 to 8 lines, but the question is really simple if you find out what exactly the interviewer want you to do. So the question goes like this: there is a boy called Varun, and he likes to keep his stuffs in proper arranged manner, unlike today's kids. So he has got a friendship book. A friendship book is where you write friends names of your friends, and he follows that dictionary trend. Like in dictionary, the first word is from A, then it's from B and everything. So he writes name in his friendship book in that manner. You are basically given an array of strings where the words, each index represents the names of his friends. Your task is to find that name which appears in the middle of that book. Let's say Varun has 5 friends. Okay, so he has written all his 5 friends' names in his friendship book. So what we are required to do is to find the name which is in the middle of that. The middle page bears a name. You have to find that name. So it's pretty simple. Just take the array, sort it in alphabetical manner, and then find the middle element. It's pretty simple. How you will find the middle element? The length of the array divided by 2. And if there are two middle elements, like if there is an even number of names, then there will be two middle numbers. So you can return any of the two. So the whole problem is a story about Varun. We don't care about what Varun is, how he does things. We care about what's the problem. So it's a simple. I was taken a very basic example, but you can find many examples where you can see that the problem was very easy if you could have extracted the right information. So this is all about the step 1, that you just have to write the problem in your own words. You don't have to write the problem, you just have to know that what the question is asking, rather than diverting yourself into Varun's lifestyle. So this was the first step. Second step is clearly identify the input and output format. In my previous videos also, I always ask you to focus on this before writing your code. I'm telling you guys, if you don't pay attention to this, you will surely encounter a question where you are stuck or some of your test cases aren't passing. So let's see why input and output format is important with an example. You are given an array A and you have to create another array B such that in the array B, the each element is just a square of the element in the first array. That is, B of I is equal to A of I into A of I. You will definitely do this. You won't even look at the input or output format. You will just start doing the question. But there can be a problem. What could be the problem? The problem could be this, that when you are squaring a number, and if the number is large enough, it may go out of bound. You will get wrong answers. So you have to, when you are given a question like this, it's already mentioned in the question the range, and if it's not mentioned, if there you are in an interview, the interviewer has intentionally done this. He wants you to test, he wants to test you with that, whether your mind is covering all the corner cases, all the possible cases, or whether you are just going after the algorithm. You aren't even bothering about what the numbers can be. So this is why you have to check what is the input format, the numbers range, how will it vary, and then you should bother about the output format, that how you have to give the output, right? Sometimes it's modulo. If it's a very large number, you have to give modulo 7, modulo 8. You have to take the modulo of some number so that the number is reduced. Sometimes you have to return the index position rather than the actual value of the array, so that also you have to keep in mind, that you have to return the index and not the value. So that's something that we should focus on. That's all about input and output format. Now the next thing comes is create your own test cases. Now this is obviously something that many of us follow, but still some of us don't follow, because we go on writing the algorithm and the test cases are already given on the website. So why to create your own test cases? But you will definitely face such a situation in interview where you interviewer has asked you a question, now you're blank, that how to now make a test case, how to cover the edge cases, the corner cases. So again, I have taken an example where you can understand that. Let's say you are implementing binary search for the very first time. Okay, you have just learned binary search. So if you are going to implement it, how your test cases should be, how should be your test cases, means what are the corner cases that you should care about and everything. So there are 5 cases. You can make more, there's always an etc at the end. You could always add more, so etc etc etc, because you could always add more here. So the first one is a case where target number is not present in the array. We all know what's binary search. In binary search, we perform the searching operation in log of base 2 time complexity. So you are given an array, you have to find a target number. Now the first test case would be case where your target number is not even present in the array. Then what you are going to return? Many times it's given in the question that if the number is not present, return -1 or return nothing. So you should ask the interviewer, sir, if the number is not present, what should we do then? And just don't go for the implementation without asking anything. So the first test case should be about this. A case where the input array is empty. You are given an array, you are given a target number, but the array is empty. So what should we return in those cases? A case where target number appears more than once in the array. If there is a case when the target number appears more than once, then do we have to return both the indexes, or just any one of them, or the first one or the second one? So this is also a test case. You should ask this writing in the code. And at least one normal test case, that follows all the etiquettes. So you could write one normal test case as well. And you should also write test cases where the target number is present in the first and the last position, because sometime it happens, when you write code, you will get an idea that why I'm saying you should write test cases where it's present in the first and the last position. So it's also important to cover all the test cases. So some of us would be thinking, yeah, is it really important to do all of these? Yeah, it's really important to do all of these. Initially you will find this hard, you'll find this time taking, but as the time passes, you'll see you are doing all those 5 steps in just half a minute, because it's pretty simple. You are extracting the corner cases in just few seconds. So it's important. If you're not doing this, then you are really in a big trouble. Even if you're taking 2 minutes of time, then also it's good, it's satisfactory. But if you're not doing this, then you will really encounter a very, really worse situation. So it's better to do this, follow these things. The 4th step is obviously go for your algorithm. And before going for an algorithm, you should first try the brute force algorithm. Why brute force? Because whenever you are asked a question, it's always good to give at least one solution to the interviewer, so that he knows that at least you can solve the question, and then go for optimization. Don't think like I have to do this question in one time only. I don't won't even care about that one square solution. No, first go for the one square solution because that's the easy one, that's the basic one, and then go on optimizing it. The interviewer himself will ask, please will you, can you optimize this space, or can you optimize the time? Then you will think, okay, so this is the step that you should follow. And one more thing, where you should always calculate your time and space complexities. That we all do, obviously. And never, one thing is always also important when you're implementing your algorithm. I mean, when you are not writing the code, you're just thinking about the algorithm. Never think about how will you write your code, like how will my for loop look like, where will my I start with. No, don't care about that. Just go for the basic algorithm. After that you can think about how you are going to implement that. Just, you have to solve a coding question in steps. If it's a big question, you have to follow the protocol, else you will be, stuck somewhere and you won't find a way out. So it's always better to do things in sequential manner. And ultimately the last step is to write your implement your algorithm in any language, C++, Java, Python, whatever you are used to doing. And it's advisable to use variables names and functions name which really have some meaning, and don't use func for functions or f for functions. It's really irrelevant, useless. Use comments because they always, you know but make a better impression of your code, and the interviewer will definitely love that. And also you should keep your code short. Like you can see on Google or anywhere, a single question code is somewhere written in 6 lines, and the other guy has written 18 lines. He has done everything there. So that 18-line code is never a good option. Always try to make your code short. And for doing this, making your code short, it's always, you can do one thing. You can write your code and then compare your code with the code that is given by some good programmers on YouTube or somewhere else, or in that on that website only, whether you are HackerRank or Interviewbit. You can see the code that is given by them. So you could always compare that, even though if you have solved the question. And yeah, never forget to initialize your variable. We all do that, but still it's important to initialize your variables. We should never use the variables before initializing. So guys, these were the 5 basic steps, that many of us follow, but still some of us don't know anything about this. So I just made a video so that the beginners and some of us will learn that these are also something that we have to follow. It's not all about writing code. You can save our time, you can gain your speed by following these steps. So I hope guys you liked the video. Please comment on this, share as much as you can, and subscribe to my channel. It's a very new channel. I made this video in English because someone asked me to make a video in English from South India because she doesn't understand Hindi. So I was really happy to see that my videos are getting views. So I want you guys to share these videos, support me guys. It's my new channel. Make it grow. Thanks a lot guys. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for future videos.